shit too. You all was the one ever since my hair was me and my brothers be ballin' like all three. I can never leave my brother Mario Luke. I can't tell the weather, but I can feel it in the air, rain coming soon. Oh, they talking hot, cool, I'm all vibe. Making shower on the block, no shampoo to the metal.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the 2434 podcast where anything is possible and we learn from our wins and losses. Heck speaking, and I'm here to give you back a film study. Yeah, I know, last week we didn't have that many film studies because I had to push out a lot of the content between the podcast between me and the villain. By the way, if you haven't seen the video, please check it out. I feel that me and Villain did a really good job on this one. So check out. We talk about everything. We talk about the NBA. We talk about a little bit of the next chapter. We're trying to be a little bit diverse with our content. But I'm back where I grit my teeth at. This video, I was originally going to do an analysis of Scar's 1v1, but I think I seen this 1v1, seen a clip. I was like, oh yeah, I had to go over this. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, to give a little bit of background of Quincy. Quincy played ball at University of Alabama in Birmingham, and he transferred to a different school. Right? But so I think these guys can ball, but I'm really not really familiar with his game. So I'm gonna find out. I'm finding out with y'all. Fomby, I know for a fact he can shoot off platform. He's very quick. He's very strong and physical, and he's very good at getting downhill and getting to his spots. So let's see. They're around the same age, so I think there's an advantage is going to be an experience. Is going to be around the same. They're going to be around. They're going to be here. They're going to be neck and neck. Yeah. Okay. Let's see how this video turns out. Okay, so starting off the game like that is crazy. You go jab, fake. So you want to know why this move works? He's turning and running to keep up with him. He gave him a little bit of a slight push off. All his momentum is going this way. He gave him a slight push off. Then he took a step back. His 2 steps to create separation from him. And by the time he recovered from it, it was too late. Great shot, Fomby. Way to start the game off. This one right here, I felt like if he extend. Okay. As somebody who, I feel that if he holds his follow through route, that goes in. But let's see. All right, so here, rip through, overstep, jab, cross. He's quick as heck. Make sure I'm not in 2 times speed. He'll be in normal speed. Good move. Got to finish. As I always say, when you are given a top foot, spin moves and hop steps are typically the most advantageous. He's cutting him off hard. He drives hard right. He's cutting him off. He spins middle. He's shooting a fade. I think he's off balance. I think it's because he's off balance, but I'm not certain. He's off balance. Misses it right. Yep, he's off balance. Notice something? One of the signs that I always sit there and say is like, as a shooter, use the feedback of where your shot lands as a tell to why you miss your jump shots. Huh? That's not complicated. Let me explain. If you are leaning right, naturally the ball is going to be going to the same side that you're leaning. If you're leaning back and you're going to most likely miss short. Right? The shot you always want to miss as a shooter, you always want to miss everything long and to the back of the rim because that means you can always take power off of it. You're missing short, that means you're not getting enough power on it. If you're missing left or right, that means you're pulling the ball. Either you're pulling the ball right or you're pulling the ball left. And this case right here, when you try this fadeaway, he's leaning right, the ball goes right. So he's off balance. Good in. You notice how he's forcing him left. So the first thing I'm going to tell you as a shooter or as somebody who plays basketball, who shoots the ball very well, when you force a shooter left, you give up sidesteps to the non-dominant hand, which is a lot easier of a shot than when you force him right. Or force him to the non-dominant hand. But the upside about it is, the upside about it, the thought behind it is, you can use this hand right here and you have a lot closer of a contest. Versus if you force him right and he doesn't, versus when you force him right, which 9 times out of 10, when you force him to the dominant hand, now you got to worry about them going to the rim, So I can understand why he's forcing on the left here. So let's see. See? And ironically enough, he went for the side step because that was the better angle. Okay, this is another good move. Jab, cross. That spin step back is nasty. So he goes jab. He goes over right here. He's playing the drive. He gives up the shot. And guess what? He just misses. Happens. He hit that? Okay. Even though this is a difficult shot, this is still very impressive. So, lesson number 2 about a shooter. There are 3 situations in which you can shoot. You can shoot the ball. Think about shooting like throwing a jab. You could throw a jab, when your defender's hand when your defender's hands is right here. You could throw a jab when your defender is not guarding his face. You could throw a jab while he's throwing his jab, or you can throw a jab while he's trying to throw up another punch. Same thing with shooting. You can shoot the ball when he's not within arm's length of the ball. You can shoot the ball when he has no hand. 3, you can shoot the ball if the defender jumps too early, right? You can wait. You can shoot the ball. If you can get around him, you have a wide open shot. The latter is extremely difficult because you have to really, because 9 times out of 10, if you do not get enough space from him, or the guy does not jump clear past you, he's still in the vicinity to contest your shot. But if you can master this, it makes you that much better of a shooter. So right here, Fomby takes a step back. He gets antsy. He leaves his feet, mistimes his jump. Now he shot the ball while he's on the way down. Can't do nothing about that. Cash. That's a tough shot. Now, those are the type of shots that you will live with, because if he's forced to shoot double pump step back jumpers with you jumping in the air, consistency and reliability is not going to be very high. But you shake his hand, you go, you check it back up, you shake his hand saying good shot, but he's making him earn that one. I'm going to be the first person to say this. Horrible foul. Horrible foul. Horrible foul. Not on the refs, but on Fomby. It's 4-zip. He said you don't give up anything. My rule is, and when you're playing basketball, don't give up anything cheap, and don't give up anything easy. So, he steps back, he realizes he's a little bit too far from him, and he closes it hard, and guess what ends up happening? He accidentally runs into him. Boop! They were 3-point. Horrible foul. He knows it too. So right here, this is a good angle to attack. So you see, right, first thing first. Since he wants to work back this way, I always say it's like, if you want to be a better hooper, learn how to use a jab step. So right here, you see how Fomby, gets the ball and he jabs and attacks his 5-foot and gets him to drop this way. Game working this way, right? He pump fakes, he step back, brace the separation, cash. That's crazy, right? Right, and I forgot to mention, because he worked him that way, it made it much more easy to just take the step back going to his left hand. Plus, your left side is the easiest side to shoot off of. Shooting a right-handed step back, that's a great change of pace. So right here, one thing I want you to pay attention to is watch how Quincy, I'm putting this on motion. I gotta put it on the ESPN cam. Watch how Quincy swing, cross, hops, slows down, speeds back up. That's a great way. That's a great way to change. That's a great change of pace. It's a lot easier to guard somebody when they're playing at one speed and one pace. But if you're able to sit there and go from slow to fast, or knowing how to transition from fast to slow as a hooper, it makes you that much harder to guard because guess what? You become unpredictable. So there's some situations I always sit there and say, this position right here, he went from fast to slow, back to fast. In some situations, you may need to go fast, 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 back to slow, to throw off your defender's timing. Or you can sit there and go slow, slow. You can go slow, slow, fast. Relatively, as I always say, and as I always be the first person to say it, change of pace is one of those skills that when you master, it makes scoring a whole hell of a lot easier. A whole heck of a lot easier, excuse me. Catches the ball, hang, step back. See how you got him downhill and he step back? As I always say, once you get somebody going backwards, it's hard to contest forward. But anyway, that's a great step back. And he shot that going right. If you remember, when Fomby tried to step back going left, you see how his feet was naturally aligned to the cup, and it looked a lot easier. It looked right. Now, Quincy shot the step back going right. Notice how he had a leg. How he kicks his leg out because that's for balance. Kind of like how Kobe would do this would say, kind of how a cheetah will sit there and use his tail to help him steer. Same thing with shooting. The, the leg kick is not the leg kick. The first thing first, I believe the NBA should get rid of this. Get rid of that rule of the leg kick being an offensive foul because guess what? I honestly believe that it's a if you're going to shoot a shot going to your right, you're gonna have to use your leg to keep balance. But where it becomes a problem is when you got guys like Harden and Trae Young sitting there kicking their legs out and getting 3 free throws off of it. I understand why. But I always say that rule is one of those rules that should be ref consistently in the NBA. But I generally think it should be back. They shouldn't allow it. But that's neither here nor there. So if you're trying to get good at shooting fadeaways going to your right and pull ups, incorporate a leg kick because it may be useful for you. Okay. Quincy can play. Quincy gets the ball in the triple threat. He jabs like he's going to attack, going left downhill. He attacks his top foot. Got him to move slightly right. Got him to move slightly left. Goes back right. Good take. That's a great counter. So this right here is called switching up your rhythm, right? Fomby right here gets the ball. He goes tween cross. So he could have obviously set his feet and shot the ball right here. Set his feet and shot the ball right here. But he goes tween to a pull-up to slow his reaction time down just by a second. Because let's say for argument's sake, if he's playing, it's a read. If he rises up, expect him to shoot, he blows right by him. But if not, he hit a tough jump shot. That's number 3 I'm gonna teach you about shooting in this possession right here. If you get the guy going backwards, it's physically impossible for him to contest your jump shot without hurting himself. What Fomby does is he oversteps hard, he does an overstep step back. Right? Quincy reacts to the overstep, takes a slight step back. That's too much space. Green bean. That's Gash. So right here, no hand. That's a Christmas gift. As I always say, that's a Christmas gift. Yeah, he has his hands wide, but I always will sit there and say this. If you know you got a guy who can shoot, your hand got to be in the space and mirroring the ball. If it's not, free money. Okay, ready? Now, why he just stopped? Okay, so he pump faked. He got caught in the pump fake. He realized he was out of there, and he continued the layup. I respect that. You don't need to get right. I respect that. Before I sit there and I'm gonna show you something. In basketball, a travel. There are 3 types of travels. There is the pivot travel. There's the pivot travel or the access point travel. There's the Yugo step travel, or AKA meaning you cannot hop and land on the same foot, and then you take 3 steps. This one right here is a pivot travel. Look, You go see tween. So you see how his back foot, how he moves his back foot. This is his pivot foot right here, right? He goes tween, right? Tween. That's a travel, 100%. Problem is, referees is not gonna sit there and have ESPN replay showing them breaking down that move in 5 and 6 chances. So chances are, because it's in playing speed, it's very difficult to see that. But that is a walk. I like how he uses a soft. He goes jab, takes 2 dribbles, and does a soft inside hand finish. One thing I like about the inside hand finish. Okay, the inside hand finish is one of those layups where I feel that you should be able to do it with both hands, and you should be able to finish with either hand. I mean, you should be able to finish with both inside. Do it both. Finish with both way. Finish left, right. The inside hand finish, I generally believe that you should be able to do it with both your left hand and your right hand, because there's gonna be some situations in which it's very difficult to read and it's very difficult to tell, especially if you are a natural righty. Because if I'm going right, naturally you're gonna think, oh, I'm right-handed. I'm going to sit there and play his right-handed layup. But if I hit you with an inside hand, left-handed layup, guess what? It's going to throw you off your timing. Goes right here, jabs, gets to his body, uses the inside hand, right hand for the tough finish. Okay, so it's something that, so I'm noticing a little bit of a pattern with Quincy. And as I will sit there and say, when he goes to the right, when he goes left and he goes left, he doesn't go to finish cash. We'll go with that. Too much space. Halftime. So right here, so about Quincy. And one of the tendencies I noticed with him is he tends, when he goes right, he's going to finish with his right hand. He's going to finish with his inside hand. When he goes left, he's going to finish with his inside hand. If he goes all the way to the cup, if he goes right, so what did they go over in the sideline? Basically, he's giving up too many. He's giving up too many bunnies, stuff like that. I'm not going into detail, but I will sit there and say this. But I'll sit there and say, let's see how they got a halftime break. Let's see how they play coming back out of that break. Mhm. Okay, that's tough. So remember, okay, I remember if you seen my last video. If you didn't, please check it out. I'm gonna sit there and put a card right here. It was Fomby, Ball in the Ball's Life, Nesquik collab. Fomby has the ability to shoot off his right foot and his left foot. So one of the things I'm gonna explain something to you how he does it is because you see how he's forcing him right. Because he's forcing him right, he knows for a fact that he cannot. He said he cannot reload and contest his shot, his side set going right, especially if he shoots it off of 1 foot. Same thing if you force him left. If you force him left, he could do the same thing, but it's a lot easier to shoot going to his left hand than his right. But this is a good shot because it's unpredictable, it's very quick, and it's very hard to guard. That is a great move, but you don't foul him, bro. You didn't have to. But oh, that's a nasty spin move. He tripped. Was that you realize my rule of thumb? Nothing cheap and nothing easy. That's the definition of cheap and easy. Because guess what? Even though he missed 2 free throws in his game. He didn't have to like he was beat. You might as well just let him go. This is a tough shot, but as I always say, same reason why how he hit the setback. When you force it, when you're sending a shooter to the side, you're giving him this angle right here. Basketball is a game of angle. It's a game of give and take. If you play him squared, you give him a top foot, and he can either go right or he can go left. So you give him a two-way go. If you shade him right, He said you get right. If you shade him right, that means he can go back to his dominant hand, or if he's a lefty, his weak hand. And if you play him left, you can go force him. Right, you're giving up jump shots. So it's all about give and take. The question is, can you make every single shot difficult, challenging enough, and live with the results? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Quincy can play. So if you can sit there, I've always sit there and say this: if you're making him work for every shot, live with the results. I don't care if he hits 7 contested threes in a row. He ain't gonna make an 8th one. And if he makes an 8th one, he ain't gonna make a 9th one. Eventually, I always sit there and say the laws and the averages will average itself out. If you're playing good defense, you're gonna get rewarded eventually. Fomby's been blown by, was getting blown by and giving up very easy shots. Right now he's in rhythm. So because he's been getting to the rim on him, he's trying to make him shoot more. The problem is, no gap hand is crazy. Plus, if you notice something why his hands are by his pockets, it's a lot easier to slide your feet and go when you can pump your arms versus sliding your feet in like this and doing a nane. It's very difficult. Okay. They're playing a 30. Quincy's up 5, went on a run, took the lead. What do you do now if you're a Fomby? First things first, get a shot that you're comfortable with, that you know you can make. The last thing you want to do is give the ball right back when he's comfortable and he's finding a flow for his game and he's finding a flow for his offense. I would suggest go to the rim and get a layup, or get to a spot that you know you can shoot from and knock it down. Because I feel like the game is getting away from you, and if you sit there and give him too many one and dones, eventually he's gonna come back and bite you. He tried to nutmeg him. So one thing I'm gonna tell you about that, I'm gonna use it as this. The trick with the nutmeg is you gotta get him going one direction and throwing the ball between his legs. If you try to sit there and straight up nutmeg him, what's gonna end up happening is that the guy's anticipations or got good reflexes or anticipates it very well, he's gonna close his leg and it's gonna be a turnover, and that's exactly what happened. Too much. Perfect example of good defense or doing too much. Right here, jab right here. Just get to your spot. If he gets to the spot right here and he just rises up, he got it. But because he did an extra move, he allows Fomby to recover. As I always say, sometimes when you're playing defense, when you get beat, sometimes it's best to stick to one side. Because sometimes some players are expecting you to do an extra unnecessary, are expecting you to recover. And because you recover and then an extra move, you come back to me and you get me to stop. And I have to really work that hard for it. Anyway, same thing what happened right here. If he rises up the shooter, he got it. If he stays right, he got it. But he does a counter cross right back into Fomby, and it's a bad position. Happens to the best of us. Right here, Fomby goes downhill, goes through his chest, he spins off him, and gets a bucket. Now, I don't know how he got the ball. I mean, he had an extra step, right? Wait, let's count. Gather. 1. If that second foot didn't land, he would have tried. Okay. So right here, I always sit there and say this. If Fomby could have went to a 2-footed base, he makes that layup through the contact. But he got fouled, so it really don't matter. Now he just got to hit the free throw. Get back in rhythm. Way to get a foul.
It is. Hey, first jab. My first jab and goal. You go hand trick. Don't call that. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So once you bumped him on that little spin move, and you'd have kept going to the right side, straight up, like a grown ass man that you are. You tired? Lay that hoe up. You know what I'm saying?
Nigga, we can't stop you from getting where you want. Get you some easy ones.
Trying. I gotta sit down.
Yeah. But shit, be in control, he making you work. So make him work. You can't do this and that. You clock in.
Yeah.
Bro, it's overtime.
I only shot one of them.
Yeah, but you don't got time to shoot one of them. You down free.
Okay. Translation: smart shot selection. Make him work on the defensive side of the ball. What he did was he told the ref. He gave. I always sit there and say referees are human beings. I always sit there and say this. Nobody likes somebody who constantly complains. Come and be honest with you, bro. You complaining about a call, bro, they're human beings. They're going to miss things. Right? But guess what? You watch, but he went over them, remember, respectful, said, yo, bro, ref, when he's driving, he's on hand check me. Call it when you see it. And I respect it, but let's see if he gets that call. Ask for that foul. His hand is down, cash. In all fairness, he shot that from the volleyball. Uh-oh. Jab cross. Tough move, One of the things I always sit there and say, if you ever want to get better, right? So he goes tween cross. If you ever want to get better at shooting off the dribble, the two things that actually matter when it comes down to shooting off the dribble is your feet, the ball, your feet, and your hips got to all be in sync in order for you to consistently be able to be a good shooter off the dribble. Right here, tween cross, hang, one dribble. You see how his hips are low and the ball is the hips. How he sets his feet, he's low, he's explosive, and he gets off the ground quick. That's a good shot. Textbook. There's not a big fan of one dribble pull-ups from back there because I would rather get. Oh, that's a. Not a big fan of one dribble pull-ups from back there. I'm so used to the high school 3-point line, but anyway. Good foul. Nothing cheap and nothing easy. Damn, bro. He said that. You know what to me. Oh, good block. A perfect example of called drive angle. So one thing I would like about Quincy. Notice how he works his way back in front of the rim. Why is that very important? Very important to pick up. When you are driving to the cup, a lot of young players have a bad habit of when they blow by the defender and try to take this lane and shoot it from right here. And guess what? It's a difficult angle. Versus he beats him, he works his way to the cup. Now, the issue was he lost track of Fomby. So if he realized Fomby was on his hip, he may have reversed it. He may have reversed it. The right shot may have been to reverse it with his left hand, but I'm not. That's Kyrie Irving-esque. .24 up. Fomby's is a strong dude, right? He's pressing up. He blows by him. First things first. You see how he swipes his arm off? Right, swipes his arm, got him off of him. Second, he's going back into his body, and he's going up for a right handed layup in the lane. This is a lot easier of a shot. I don't want to sound like a broken record because Quincy just scored a layup the same way, but this is much more of an easier shot than you sitting there taking it from right here. Did too much. Right here, all I gotta say, yes, I understand Fomby wants to shoot, but bro, take one more dribble, go into his chest, and lay the ball up. When you start being cute, I always sit there and say, yeah, you're a shooter. Yeah, you're a shooter. When you start being cute, I always sit there and say, I'd rather be effective than be cute. Pause. If you go straight up his chest on this one, he has a layup. But I don't know. Maybe Fomby's in with some injury. Maybe he thought he was gonna beat him to the spot. We don't know. Go up his chest, or if you feel that he's beat, cut him, or he feel like he's cutting him off. Come back this way for a left-handed layup. It's options. But pulled up, good pull up. Could have got a layup. That's why I'm a little bit on it. That's tough. So like, one thing I'm gonna explain something to you. He was beat on the spin move. That way, he hit him with a half spin. That way, got him. I mean, that's tough. That's good moves. So right here, overstep, whip through, jab, got him off. He's too far on one side. He's fast. Good lay. Now he has a problem. Okay. All right. All right. Now in this position right here, I'll be the first person to say this. Nothing cheap, nothing easy. Translation: don't do anything stupid. Either don't do anything stupid. Defensively, he got point. You are 2 away from point. I don't know if they're doing straight or not. So all you got to do is make him earn it and don't foul. Because guess what? If you foul him in this position right here, it's game over. He's making his free throw because he just made his last one. Good hand. Tough shot. Layup. And he hits this. Now, this is funny. This is an OG trick.
You on the free throw. I wouldn't do you like that. Right? You about to end it.
Okay, what are my thoughts on his one-on-one? One, what to say? What are my takeaways? One, Fomby had a hard time sitting down and staying in front of Quincy because he had a hard time sitting down and staying in front of him, Quincy. He was using his hands way too much and way more than he needed to. Is what it to be and trying to slow him down and try to reach for the ball. Two, Quincy is tough. No question and no doubt about it in my mind about it. Right? Okay. So takeaway number 2, Quincy is tough. Now I know for a fact that Fomby had a bad game. I had a bad loss. The dude. He was taking advantage of him defensively. But I'll sit there and say this. I would actually like to see this rematch again to see what adjustments that Fomby will make in this one-on-one. With all that being said, thank y'all for tuning into the 2434 podcast. Like, share, subscribe. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know the drill. We turn down.